Hey, welcome back to Mobility Project. Today's mission is to talk about weird occult kind of pain in your hip, in your butt region. Oftentimes it's not musculoskeletal, it's like nervy. Hey man, something strange is going on. I can't mobilize, I can't stretch, what's going on? Sometimes we've got a little bit of what we call a neurodynamic compromise. I'm going to give you some tips and tools. Identify. Sometimes if you just feel some strange kind of deep burning pain, or sometimes it can just get trapped in your butt, think of yourself as like layers of silk sliding over steel springs is the model, but then you've got these high tension wires running through that whole mess. And if you fall behind on your nutrition or get really stiff and scarred down or fuzzed up, as we say, then those nerves can get trapped in kind of the nerve bed and not glide through there very well. And we suddenly kind of create a neurodynamic problem. So here's a couple ways to think about this. One is that, what does hot nervy pain feel like? You got to remember that you're a fixed column, a certain length of your body that contains the nerves. The nerves are just a fixed rigid length, and they don't kind of accommodate very well to that kind of lengthening container, for lack of a better word. So, for example, if I bend over and touch my toes, my whole column might become, in essence, 9 centimeters long or 10 centimeters longer, but the nervous system itself is fixed. So this is called a slump test, and ironically, we see this a lot of time in a lot of athletes. And one of the reasons we talk about thoracic mobility and hammering the foam roller, hammering the elbow crossballs, is to free up how the nerves run through the nervous system at the spine, especially the thoracic spine, which is such a large repository of kind of neural slack. So take a look at this. If I put my hands behind my back, feet together, I standardize this test, keep my eyes level, and I slump, all of a sudden I've just put a big load and a big space demand into my nervous system. Someone could overpressure me, but you'll get the idea. And then if I literally lift both my legs up and then pull my feet back, I can feel, it's starting to get tight. And as I drop my head, whoa, I start to get kind of nervy, weird feeling, pulling in different places. And my head comes up, goes away. Comes down, get a little bit tighter, comes back, goes away. We shouldn't see much neural tension. The thing is that most of us don't realize that this is just a rowing position. And we see a lot of athletes end up in these compressed positions all the time. And one of the things that athletes do is look to give that neural slack back by releasing the head. So I just want you to understand kind of what we're talking about, and sometimes as these things fit. They're fit in there, and we kind of talk about them, and we mobilize them as we go. But here's some distinct plans. So one of the issues is we don't necessarily need to stretch the nerve. So if you want to know what hot nervy pain is, lay down, load up your legs straight, puts a big load through the sciatic nerve, big demands of length, pull back, and then go ahead and round yourself a little bit. That's going to put an even bigger demand because of the thoracic loading and the thoracic slide, and then pull your foot back. Whoa! And you're going to get a big light up of that sciatic nerve. So that's what we're trying to avoid. Never stretching, never mobilizing, never rolling on a nerve. But sometimes I've got to encourage that movement. So I can take my band, wrap it around my foot, and one of the things that this allows me to do is just relax. I can bring the other leg up, gives me a little more slack, and now I'm just going to floss. Touch, come out, touch, come out. If people have any back discomfort when they do this, this is a good way to get them moving without irritating that nerve. Now look, there's a couple things going on here. One is that I haven't kind of accessed the foot yet. If I really wanted to think about just tensioning the nerve, then I'll come on and then off and just touch and come out. And as that nerve just kind of comes on tension, it'll move through the bed a little bit. But one of the things I can do to encourage that range is that I can pull my foot back, dorsiflex basically, wind up the nerve here, and then give slack at the foot as I take and tension here. So I can pull and push. And now I have a much more effective nerve slide, the same way we do the ungliding of the upper arms here. For you at home, even if you don't have a nerve problem, this is a nice and effective way to increase the range. Oftentimes that tactile nervous system, as we've seen, is the limiter. If you're not stable, challenge the nervous system anyway, it shuts it down. Another way to do this as you're sitting is to go ahead and roll the foot up and then just kind of bring that foot in, touch, come out, touch, tension, come out, bend the knee. I'm stuck in dorsiflexion, so I'm going to have a big tension at the ankle. I just squeeze the butt, come out, and just floss back and forth as I'm standing. It can make a big difference. But since we're talking about meat tunnels, a nice thing to do is to open up the big meat tunnels. Yesterday, or the day before, we talked about recovering your low back, hammering the psoas. Psoas can compress a meat tunnel, getting the ball